The game last night, huh?
Was that?
A heck of a game last night.
Oh, yeah.
My fandom was kind of hinged on whether or not we won, not my fandom, but whether I hope that we succeed and push for the playoffs or start to tank or,
It's all
you know,
just-
almost prefer that you'll use to get better draft pick was, well, if we can beat the Niners.
Okay, this is our monthly EDA meeting. It's October 24th at 6:30. We could take minutes.
Yep, I got you.
All right, good, thank you. So if you want to call the order, it's 6:33. Roll call, please.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Mayor Ikerst,
here.
Roth? No?
She's absent today.
Oh, yeah, she's at the game. Krieger? She's the one who left, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Beedling?
Here.
Shoop
Here.
and Thronson?
Here.
Okay, and then we have our open seats. We have 2 open seats, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We have an agenda or the September 26 minutes. I briefly hit the high points on them when I put the minutes together here this weekend, so. We'll talk. You guys went to the different workshops. And
So did we have any changes to the agenda at all?
no, I think I'll make a motion, we approve. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the agenda's first, yes.
Yep.
The one thing I didn't put in here was Marcia's letter. Let's just put this under, under updates from commissioners, we'll talk about Marcia and Dana.
Okay, so motion to approve.
Agenda?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
And I'm so sorry, what was your last name again?
Tronson.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
And you're.
Adam Beatty.
Okay. I'm gonna get this as quickly as possible.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The minutes. Gonna type those up for you, so I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes from September 26th.
I'll second that motion.
Do we have those minutes? Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry, my apologies.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Say aye. Say aye.
Aye.
So for those that did check their EDA mail, you should have seen this too. Take a few minutes to read that.
Thank you.
So she, emailed me Saturday night, yes it was, that's when she said that's when she sent me the letter. And a couple emails just it pretty much echoed what you what you said in her letter about the reasons for resigning from the EDA. Obviously, the attitude that was expressed by the council members was really come across very negatively. And on the YouTube, I haven't checked here today, but as of yesterday, there's like 530 some views of it. Of that meeting, so typically maybe 20 or 30. So it's got a lot of exposure. And not only in the screen, but also just the TV, newspaper, and even the Star Tribune had an article in the Sunday edition. So this is around the Iowa smaller one, or Iowa, Minnesota. So it's unfortunate, but that's what's happened. And we miss Sunny, and we're just really, it's unfortunate Dana resigned that night afterwards. She went home and sent us a letter at 10:30 at night saying she just didn't feel like she could really contribute and want to work with the behavior of some of our council members. So it's unfortunate, but that's what's happened. So now we're myself and the council itself hasn't met. We have a special meeting Thursday night to talk about some development changes on the Two Sisters restaurant. They're wanting to put in foundations and footings yet this fall, so they can start working first thing next spring instead of waiting for the ground to thaw and everything. So the site plan is being approved, and I just got an email this evening saying that the CMS, our building inspection services, have agreed to approve the foundation plan. So we'll share that with at the meeting on Thursday. That'll also be a declaration of vacancy, a resolution approved for Dana as well. So we'll start talking about the process. There's two ways we can do it because of Dana having less than 2 years on her term. I could appoint somebody and with the approval of the council, or we can do like we've done the last 2 times and replacing council members is to ask for applications and go through an interview process and then select somebody. So we'll see how that plays out. So hopefully we can fill that position fairly quickly, and as well as the other council representative too on the EDA board. So, and at the same time, Jim and Jim will be responsible for going out and starting soliciting postings and to replace for a city administrator as well. So if you have any extra city administrators kind of sit and wait to go do something
In your pocket?
you know. They're probably not sitting around waiting either, but so.
Are you able to share, or can we discuss just a little bit more context around the city council meeting, or should I have already been witness to that meeting or understand what turned upside down? Is it related to Annie's situation, or is it separate from that? And is it that why Sunny's no longer here as well?
Well, yeah, there was. I don't watch what I'm saying here, but that's essentially, we came into the agenda with nothing on the agenda about her performance review, and then Councilor Richards wanted that added to the agenda. And so we added
Dana's or Sunny's review. Sorry.
Yes, to Sunny's performance.
Sunny's
review.
performance review. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it was that, so it was added to the agenda. It was approved. Yes, we do that all the time. Add items to the agenda usually, or you can move items up on the agenda, that type of thing. So it's all very legit in Robert's Rules of Order. So that's what happened here. So it's just that so when it came time to do the review, it was just, we were all taken back, one by the surprise of it. And also just the unsatisfactory rating that the personnel committee gave her. So, and then that followed with this motion. And so there was a 3-2 vote. And she had the option to resign, but she chose to leave then. So she left the meeting about halfway through, and Took a 5-10 minute break and we came back because we were right at the beginning of our agenda. We had approved the CETA contract, we had approved the wastewater operator contract. So there was just a lot of things we needed to take care of. So we continued with the meeting, so. Yeah, it's just unfortunate, but that's what happened and,
Sure.
move on. So that's, so.
And then, and I understand if we can't discuss this now, but then Commissioner Bergner and Marcia both, were they just dissatisfied with how that was conducted, or was there?
I don't think they were, well, it was a surprise to us to begin with, because we didn't know about it. Nobody on the council outside of the two of them knew about it. Just the way it came about, and that's pretty much what the ill feelings were about, is just how it was presented and everything, so.
Okay.
It could have been done, probably could have been done better protocol,
More
but
tastefully and more
that wasn't the
upfront?
case, and so. So we so Renee's filling in, she can do payroll and she's making things happen or continue to be happening so we can operate on helping out on. Go through stuff and stuff like that, so. So right now, so we're down to 5 commissioners. And so that's kind of what you just gotta see how it plays out with the council representative, but you know, if there's a lot of things that the EDA can do. I guess that's a question of how the board feels about proceeding without Sonny or a city administrator being our executive director. Do we keep that position with the city administrator, or do we consider going to the city representative being the executive director, or how would you play, or should it play out?
This happens every once in a while. In the experiences I've had, you just have vacancies and kind of keep moving forward. You guys are in a particularly interesting situation because you're so new. So you don't have kind of that institutional knowledge to fall back on as your own group. However, we can help you through that. What I would recommend is, from the council standpoint, from the mayor's standpoint of, getting replacements in for the board members, when you can. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, but if it takes a month or two, that's okay. And then, as the city administrator comes forward, they can fill that seat back again as the executive director. In the meantime, it can just be a consensus of the board that, the CETA rep could be that fill in until you guys are back up to speed. Because really all the executive director is gonna be doing would be making sure, the agendas are out, the minutes are taken, the day-to-day stuff. I'm imagining most of what you guys are set up as is just a kind of a department of the city in terms of access to materials or funds or things like that, but that'd be my recommendation.
I feel in most of my communities anyway, we usually do serve essentially as the executive director, whether it's named that way or not. Sometimes they'll put, city staff will act as the director just to
Yeah.
make sure that we can have the appropriate authority. But otherwise, outside of that, treasurer, I think is the only thing, and that's typically the city clerk. Or a member of the board.
Yeah,
president.
so there's usually somebody that's named.
Right,
named
but
that,
as far as secretary, I can take over those duties as well, since I'll be taking minutes.
those
If I remember right, Marcia was the vice president, or Jamie?
Did you have it on there?
Let me look back here, June.
It's one of those things that, it's great if you have it, if you need to figure that out in a pinch because nobody's there. The remaining board members can just decide at a meeting as to how they want to run it themselves for the interim, so.
So Marcia was the treasurer and.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I thought, I don't know all what went on the city council meeting. I wasn't here. I'm not privy. I just heard about it. I have no reason to understand why things happen, but I guess I always thought that the EDA was supposed to be a separate entity from the council. And so our business here really should not, your council is different than the EDA. And so what happens at the council always should not affect the people on the board of the EDA. I guess was my thought process is that we're two separate boards, two separate things. And when you come, you have to wear two separate hats. And if you can't put two separate hats on, then that appears to me to say that you're kind of joined in the two entities as what's going on. And I understand that if Dana left, I understand that she was on the EDA because she was on the city council, but when I read Marshall's letter and stuff like that, it troubled me a little bit as almost so that they joined because of the council and things, and I was hoping that we were all independent thinkers and would come to the EDA and the EDA would stand on its own. What happens somewhere else should not, if something happened at the planning and zoning, I shouldn't quit because I'm on the EDA because I don't like something that's going on. That's just my thought process as I read the letter and do things is that it appears, I almost have to say ulterior motives that they joined for different reasons when I see that. And I don't know the personnel issues of why they did what they did. It's none of my business because that's a personal issue. Usually you close a council meeting. And especially if it's a review, I think I don't know if the review was due or not due. Again, there's all the things I don't know of a review that comes up of someone's employment. That's a standard operating procedure in most places is that you have annual reviews or whatever it is. And so you gotta kind of know where you kind of stand and what goes on. So I'm not familiar, I'm not privy to any of it. I don't know anything about it. I haven't watched the video. I don't know what took place. I just show up tonight. I read a letter and I see things and it's troubling to me. Because, and I'm gonna say this because I believe in our country right now, we are in troubled times that nobody wants to get along with anybody. It's easier just to quit, take my toys and go home and not try to work things out and compromise and do things. And that's what I'm seeing is getting worse rather than better. And especially when we're just starting out here on this EDA committee. We were just getting rolling. And in my opinion, it's like we've taken 2 steps back. And again, I'm here. I put my name in the hat to be here because I believe in it. And we always prevail. In the United States, we always seem to prevail and come through the tough times. But I was just hoping we wouldn't have it, continue having a tough time. So
Sometimes struggles like this make us stronger too, so.
So-
I guess that's,
and I'm sorry it has to happen. Like I said, I just
it is
make
unfortunate.
the best of what we can make. And I'm glad you're here to take it fill some of the spots because we're just getting started. You've done many of them, and so your group helps us out tremendously. So that's just my.
You're fortunate that you still have a quorum, so you can still conduct
Yes.
business. So I would just recommend, acknowledging the vacancies, acknowledging that you might be, down a couple in case you want to make big decisions, you might want to put those off. Like finalizing the strategic plan. You can still go do all the groundwork that Rebecca's kind of prepared for you, that she'll talk about later. But maybe finalizing that would be put off until not only that's done, but you're back up to full strength so that you have kind of buy-in from everybody.
I'd like to get get Dana's replacement in place with however process we take. And then we need to identify from an EDA standpoint of going through the process of appointing Marcia's replacement as a resident. And so I guess that's the same process we did before. I would consider somebody or appoint somebody and then ask for council's approval. So we may go through applications for that too as well, or because that's what we did initially. So and we had interviews too. So
It'd be up to you as the mayor, so.
So was appointed, started out for a 1-year term. Mine's up in December. So that means that I would have to reapply, which I would do in December. So my term's up. So now that leaves you 3 people short.
yeah, we have to go through that process.
Okay, so then I have to, I guess the process, I reply, put a letter, again, I've been just getting started on it. And 6 months isn't a lot of time to give anybody anything to do. I've been attending and doing stuff. So that's another thing that's coming up here in 2 meetings.
And I'm guessing that was just because of the
Sure.
start out and
Yeah,
the,
yeah. And so
I figured.
I can do that. So how would they fill in the Marcia's position because she was a longer term? Would it be until the first of the year too, or, I guess, how does that work?
Typically, you know, each seat, so you're filling a particular seat with
Okay.
a particular term tied
Okay.
to it. And so then, the seat that was resigned, the new appointee would fill out the term of that seat. So you have seat one, seat two, seat, you know, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, I suppose. And so whichever one falls in that cycle, this is really the only time where you have these staggered, odd terms, you know. But once you get through that first one, your renewal would be for 6 years.
Yep.
Then the next year, there should be another one that's up. That one will be for 6 years until
Yeah,
everybody
Dana's-
is on 6.
Dana's term ended with her term of December next year. So we're always gonna be a
Oh, with council, yeah.
flux. Yeah, there's a really, I thought I had it here with me.
I just want to think of.
Mhm.
Good question. Yeah, absolutely.
I think, Dan, and I don't have a lot of experience in running governments, but I think the only thing I would add to what you were saying is that I would see the city council as being higher up in the chain of command of the EDA, right? The EDA is a subset of the city council, and so if that's your chain of command and you've got Marcia with her level of experience and expertise and integrity, if she's having deep-seated concerns about the city of Orinoco and the city council and where things are going, then resigning makes sense. So I don't think it's so much that she's backing out and running because she's not wanting to fill up the responsibility, but it's, she
Right.
sees, if she's, you know, speaking here that she doesn't feel like the city's court of conduct is predictable, reliable, or legal, or gonna act in a principled fashion. That's pretty understandable.
In her opinion, but not necessarily in my opinion, to say that how they've been doing it, that they're, to say someone legally, then I would have to say is that, did the council do something illegal? And if they didn't do something legal, then someone's challenging the council, say, politics is a blood sport. And I'm just telling you, politics is a blood sport, and you always don't get your way, but you have to learn, as I said, to compromise.
Yeah.
And always to move forward with something, and one day your team might be the winning team, and the other team is, we should never say that, but that's what it's come to is,
That sounds like.
I wanna win, you
Sounds like there's-
lose, and then the other way, and
But
I like
just
the word
a structural
compromise.
clarification, if you think about it as Congress, then Congress is the city council and we are a subcommittee of.
Yep.
So we still report to the city council, we
Right.
report to the city. So the city council, yeah, they're kind of our.
Okay.
They're our judicial court essentially.
Up in the chain of command, and even if you're not comfortable with the legal piece of it, the principled fashion piece, right? If a person has a significant concern with the principles of the folks that make up it's completely understand that you don't want to be over here and say, hey, come to Orinoco, bring your business to Orinoco, if you don't have faith that the principles are in place by the chain of command.
Doesn't demonstrate a willingness to work.
Right.
With developers, that's the challenge we have, and that's
we will get through it.
unfortunate, it's unfortunate stigma, but that's what we have to overcome.
Along those lines too, I know one thing that Marcia was working on, and I don't remember who she was working on it with, but she was crafting the bylaws kind of outside of,
I think she was working with Sunny probably, but
Sunny.
I haven't,
could have been, yeah.
I'm in the process of kind of organizing what she's been working on. So it kind of helps the next person coming in, and I know there's a stack of EDA stuff over here on the corner, so it might be in there too, I don't know.
I can take that on from this point too, if it's, I mean, I can take what she's already got and we can add to it or.
Yes, yeah.
The bylaws, they're
Fairly
pretty
standard.
template oriented for an EDA.
Yeah.
There's very little choices that you get in it. It's more of just making sure that you're comfortable with it. So a lot of that's laid out in statute.
And we're maintaining communications with Sunny, so I can ask her too, if she did start anything.
Yeah, if there's a template, you know, you
Yep.
just pick that up and run with
If
it.
I start
So-
over again, that's fine too, so. So that's kind of the updates from our agenda on. I would assume that sometime here, maybe in November, we start a process for finding a resident update to replace Marcia, so. So a lot of things that have to happen over the next 6 weeks to 2 months, hopefully by Christmas. New Year's, we can all be back together again and going forward, so. Strategic planning, that kind of goes over into new business too, so kind of lump those all together if you want to start there.
Sure. Again, Chris Geeson, with CETA, thank you so much for the support, that you guys are showing for us to help you, as your staff for the EDA, especially as you're getting up and running. I wouldn't worry too much about the vacancies or anything at this point. I think from a general perspective, we'll get those filled, with the mayor and the council. We'll be back up and running as soon as we can. In the meantime, I think, there's a lot of little things that a new EDA needs to look at, in terms of just getting your ducks in a row so that everything's kind of taken care of. Building that regular cadence of meetings, the kind of the business side of the EDA, if you will, the administrative side. Rebecca Charles, my colleague here, is going to be our staff person that's assigned to Orinoco. So feel free to reach out to her or me, of course, too, but she'll be your main point of contact. You'll see her more often. I'll probably come to the first few meetings just to make sure everything's kind of going in, but as things go forward, I think she'll probably take more of the lead, even with you guys here. I'll still be able to help with whatever that comes forward,
As
so.
long as you bring cookies, we'll remember you more and more.
You're lucky I like to bake.
She's really good at it, so.
Baking Christmas treats every year.
What I would recommend, and based on what was discussed at the last meeting, if you remember at the last meeting, we talked about, if the contract moved forward, which it did. Coming up with a 30, 60, 90-day plan as to kind of how does this jumpstart? How do we make sure the list is kind of checked off as to the basics, that those business items. So that's what Rebecca has put forward for you here. Without a city administrator, it gets a little trickier. It might slow down just a little bit, but I still don't see too much of an issue on hitting the ground running here. A lot of these things Rebecca's done for other cities. So if she hasn't come across it or we get stuck, it sounds like the mayor's still in contact with Sunny, or through our network, we can figure it out. So I wouldn't worry too much about that slowing you down at this point. Yeah.
Speaking of Sunny, she just sent me an email that she'd like to have me read to everybody here, so. She said, please share this expression of thanks to the EDA and to CETA. Dear friends, it was my honor and privilege to have served you. Being the lead cheerleader of a city, especially on community and economic development matters, is a passion. Please know that I have great expectations for the work you will do in the days ahead. If I can help in any way, I'm here for you. Rylan has my personal contact information and my permission to share it with you upon request. Thank you. Onward, Orinoco. So that's
That was very
her
nice.
motto, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Is she a resident of Orinoco?
No, she lives in Savage, I think, or outside Savage. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's wonderful and very generous. And so really what Rebecca's gonna be kind of handling, I'll let you go through the actual work plan with them. But I think the big item is to try to gather the community feedback as to what it is the community is looking for economic development in the community. With that information in hand, I think that would be the natural point to continue the strategic planning discussion, using that as a basis, kind of as a data set there. By that point in time, you should also have full strength on your board as well. We're looking at what about, 3 to 6 months out for that time process. So I think that'll work out really well. And in the meantime, working with those administrative tasks to keep you guys up and running, whether that's getting the bylaws done, getting a business subsidy policy in place, working with the city staff to make sure everything is kind of in gear so that if, like Rebecca mentioned earlier, a lot of our communities, even though our staff technically isn't the executive director for the EDA, we function that way to take that off the administrator's plate. So we're, running point on the projects with them, kind of in the loop as to what things are going on, getting their advice, putting out the agendas, making sure, all the project information is together for you as board members. That type of administrative type work.
Oh, we'll work with city attorneys, engineers, and behind the scenes. If an EDA loan needs to be taken care of, we'll help take care of those things just to help take that off of the plate of the city. Yeah.
So Rebecca will be able to do all of that. And then once the kind of the community input and the work plan is in place, then, actually working on the bigger projects, long-term projects that you see come forward. As well as all those fun projects that walk in the door that sound like they're continuing to. Whether that's the Two Sisters Restaurant, whether that's some of these others that are looking for some help. Getting to know the business community, getting to know the processes that are in place. That type of a thing too, just how to help the city build the development base, so.
So,
And I think that actually the last thing is just the biggest and most important thing is getting to know the EDA as well.
Mhm.
So personal meetings with her and conversations just on why you're here, what you're looking for, how you want to see this work. And you really have a blank slate to figure all that, the details out at this point.
yeah, it's, yeah, the two restaurants, there's two daughters, that's, Lori and Diane, and, can't think of the last names right now. Anyway, so, right now we're looking to, they want to start this fall and hopefully have a grand opening in the July, August timeframe. Cool. Still pretty aggressive, but that's their plan. They don't want to make sure they're in the summer season when they open up as opposed to a fall opening before Christmas. So that's kind of the plan of hopefully the council agreeing to pursue the, let them put the footings and the foundations in before winter, so. And the other one is a Glenn's Motor Coach. It's kind of a unique situation that the property is owned by TLS Properties. But I think they're going to lease it to Glenn's Tour Coaches. So, and that we've worked through some issues there. Here just finishing up this week, in fact, so they can continue on with their structure as well, so.
Does the city council get involved in the leasing? Not involved in the lease, but reviewing the lease and understanding the terms?
No,
Is that a part of the
no, that's
process?
all private, you know, so we don't have any impact on that discussions or anything like that, so.
And maybe it's maybe I'm thinking too hard on it, but is there potential hazards or issues there? Like if they're gonna lease it to Motor Coach and Motor Coach has a 2-year lease and, you know, the city's making decisions based off of a long-term tenant. Is that, are we not asking enough questions or am I asking too many questions? Does that make sense?
No, you're asking good questions. I don't know the answers, first of all, but,
I'm guessing.
from the outside looking in, it seemed like it would be just a private matter, but,
Sure.
it's their private property.
Yeah.
I guess they see fit, so.
I'm guessing they built it, they came in together and as a way for that private business owner to finance, they possibly had to have a partner come in.
Sure.
So it's probably a long-term lease arrangement is my
Yeah, I would
guess.
assume so too.
Yeah, definitely, they're definitely building it for Glenn's Coaches. There's no
Yeah,
question about
right,
that. It's better.
Yeah.
Long term too, so maybe we'll find that out too sometime. We start to have a relationship with Glenn's Coaches or that, and same thing with Two Sisters, so.
Do we have any board members with any banking or contracting experience, just out of curiosity?
Well, I own a business.
Okay.
So I mean, I work with my bank a lot,
Right, yeah, oh yeah, you've definitely got some experience there.
but I'm not in banking or
Right.
anything like that.
Okay, because it might be something just as a little note to keep an eye out for when you are putting out new feelers for board members, is that it can come in handy.
No, that's good. Jamie's my market planner type things, but Marcia was just her legal background.
Yeah,
Okay.
just a note to keep in mind.
So really the last couple things I wanted to mention about the contract, you know, what the council and what you guys were recommending is a 1 day a week contract. So Rebecca will be here 1 day a week, kind of date to be determined at this point, but kind of starting well, I guess we're at November already, so whenever. So I'll let you, Mayor and Rebecca kind of decide what that looks like, at least for the short term, and then maybe that needs to change once the new city administrator is up and running. It might look different, but
I do apologize that I won't be able to do Tuesdays except on the Tuesday that we have our EDA meetings, because unfortunately, it's just a very, very popular day of the week for EDA meetings, so I have them in other towns on all the other
Okay.
Tuesdays.
So may I ask, what other towns are you working with?
I'm working with Spring Grove, Hayfield, and Rushford Village,
Okay, all right.
so nothing too close.
Let's just kind of spread around. Do you think it's okay to give each one a copy of the contract for their reference?
yeah, if you
Yeah,
have.
I've got copies
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So it should be the same as what you guys saw last time. Well, we're essentially here to help you.
I have it. It was
The
in
signed
the,
copy.
it was in the
Okay.
agenda from.
And on days when I'm not in the office, that is not to say you cannot get in touch with me. I will be answering phone calls from Orinoco 7 days a week if I need to. I will be answering emails from Orinoco 7 days a week. It's just a matter of what days my feet are actually in town for my date. So there's
Um,
definitely no restriction as to specific dates that I can actually work on projects. It's just a matter of when I'll be physically there.
So I guess Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Thursday is my most open date,
Okay.
so I would love to do Thursdays.
Okay, let's kind of pencil that in.
Yep, that would be great. And I'll work, like I said, I'll work with Renee too to make sure she knows my
Yes,
schedule.
okay.
When would your Thursday be? Which Thursday?
And would that be just next week, yeah?
Second or. The first is on a,
First is on a Wednesday, so yep, it'd be Thursday the 2nd. Does that work?
yeah, sounds
Okay.
good.
Beautiful.
Better than Saturday.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, like I said, the long and short of it is we're here to help. So if there's anything that you need or you see that would work better for Orinoco, we're not in a lock stance of it has to be this particular way or that particular way. You know, we can work with you to make sure that what it is. Every city we work with has a different way of doing business and we're flexible.
Well, we're starting out new, so since we don't know what we don't know. So it might be kind of slow moving, give you directions or whatever the case may be, but we're gonna have you give us some direction too, so.
Well, and the good thing is that at least with the way everything looks out with the work plan and all of the community engagement, there'll be a lot of work that I'm able to do in the background with that while you guys are kind of dealing a little more with some of the organizational bits and pieces. That I'll have plenty of stuff that I'll still be doing in the background. I'll still be giving you guys proper updates and all of that, but at least you'll know that there won't be too much that you have to worry about right away as far as getting me additional work, so.
And then based on the information you guys are talking about, it sounds like bylaws is kind of the big one, at least organizationally, that we'll need to add to this, but Rebecca can help structure the agendas so that you guys are accomplishing those tasks. Yeah. The only other thing that I would have on that is depending on when your next EDA meeting is, I'd be more than happy to come and do just a brief board training for you guys as board members. I did this for the council, I think probably 2 years ago now at this point, but just to go through a quick presentation on what it is to be a board member, kind of the expectations around being a board member, working with developers, working with some of these private owners, the tools that are available to you as EDA members, just so that you guys kind of have some guideposts as to how it normally works, so what you guys can expect for business.
So right now, we're still, unless it changes, it's the fourth Tuesday.
Okay.
So it'll be the 28th. That still works for everybody? Speak now or?
Yep.
It's all good.
So I'll work with Rebecca, but if next month or the month after, whatever that might, I guess, December gets into Christmas time, but
Probably would, it's the 26th, if we were to have a meeting, that would probably pass on that date, so.
it's hard to get.
I will say I will be in Colorado. That's where my family lives.
Oh, cool, okay.
So those are the two things, and then once you guys get the feedback from the community, I'm more than happy to help again, to untable the strategic planning discussion to help, create some actionable items on that information with Rebecca.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I think you guys have a lot of opportunities here. There's gonna be a lot of people knocking on your door. You guys have a wonderful opportunity to put the city's best foot forward and see good things happen, so.
So there's one thing that's also going on right now that you should be aware of. That's on a P and Z site. So the P and Z has been working on refining essentially our building codes. The 151 sections of our city code, 150 to, the whole 150s. Everything below it is pretty much set in stone by Minnesota statutes, and that's not what they're looking at. They're looking at the 150 codes because we've had a lot of issues with duplicate codes, arguing against each other. It needs to be refined and everything, so they've gone three companies. They've got two now that they're doing a second interview to do a planning, redoing our planning codes, if you will. So they're having another interview session November 1st and 2nd, but part of that is going to be, and this is what kind of pigtails into our community engagement, is that they're looking at kind of doing the same thing with the citizens, and I think it needs to be tied in. This won't start until the 1st of January. There's still a budget issue, whether we can afford them or not. If we afford them, then we gotta change something else to come up with the funding. So it's really, we're doing the right process, and this is all part of Sunny's and effort to do this RFP, and so we're still progressing. The P and Z is very supportive of it, and they wanna go back and get, or they'd like to get some community input about zoning, maybe looking at our future land use map, refining it, I guess you may. This was done in July of 2020. It's only been 3.5 years, but at the same time, there's a potential new set of eyes looking at it, so it's more or less refining what we have there, so. So part of this community engagement process is to gain feedback on, to see if anything has changed from that, or needs to be improved, or whatever the case may be. Hope it doesn't change too much, but at the same time, this RFP is gonna try and pull more information and community engagement, so. If and when that happens, we should also try to incorporate that into our community engagement process, so we're not asking our residents to go to 2 different meetings, and so it makes just sense to combine those two. But there is a lot of commonality in what we'll be looking for in our community engagement with economic development. Of course, that goes right along with zoning, so.
Well, that might be something too, that you're able to find a grant for some of that
Right.
outreach as well too. So there's opportunities there that the Rebecca will be able to work on with you on that.
Cause I've actually already drafted a Compeer financial grant. I don't have all the details in it yet, obviously. But for the community engagement portion, and if I can meet up with or speak with someone from planning and zoning and kind of get some of that information, we could tie them in together and then put it all into that same financial umbrella.
Okay. I can give you their name, and they meet the second Thursday of every month at 6:30. Here in the council room, so. But Wendy Phillips is the chairperson for it, so. So when you get in, maybe we can just kind of briefly talk a little bit more about that in detail next on this second.
Yep, and actually I'll try and get that meeting put on my calendar too, and maybe I can pop in and have
Okay,
a discussion.
at the same time, that's, like I said, they're still going through their interview process, and we need to have a budget workshop. I need to schedule one here in November so we can kind of rally around our preliminary figure. Of course, we can't go any higher, but if we want lower, still do all these things. We gotta make sure we can do that. Little give and take there, so. Okay, good.
And then I think the only thing we didn't really cover on here, just so that you guys have the idea, I guess, for business outreach. During the first 1 or 2 months, I'll probably be trying to make little appointments with some of the local business owners. I'll obviously just try popping in to some of the shops, but with others, I'll work on making some appointments just to kind of discuss with each of the business owners. You know, what is it that you'd like to see the city do? What would be helpful for you? You know, as far as business maintenance, property maintenance, any of those kind of things, just so that we can have an idea
Okay,
of different programming opportunities that are out
I
there.
can give you quite a few names, contacts of those businesses, so.
That'd be fantastic.
That's kind of put that on our agenda for the second, and I
Yep.
can share that information with you, so there's.
And I own Shot Tracy signs right over here.
Oh, perfect.
So anytime between now and then too, I'd be happy to meet. Cause I don't know what I don't know either as a
Right,
business owner.
absolutely.
So I would be excited by that prospect as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
The exciting thing about what the EDA does is you're kind of the sales team for the city. You know, the planning and zoning kind of is the rule maker of this is what we want and where. So I would encourage all of the EDA members to at least be familiar with the high level stuff in the comp plan, the high level maps, the future land use, where the utilities are, if there's any big blind spots or big opportunity spots, things like that. But then, you know, just let's go shake the bushes, and our role as the staff is to, you know, kind of do the boots on the ground aspect of that, as well as the administration side. You know, there's a lot of before and after details that come along with a project as well, so.
And I think the comprehensive plan is on our city website under P and Z.
Got it. I'm a.
Correct, and that's all part of this planning process too, is the RFP is to, I think it's also developed a. I'm not sure if they're gonna rewrite it, or it's a one-year program, I should say, it's a one-year program for this company to go through the codes and come back to planning and zoning, so I'm not sure if the comprehensive plan update is part of their workload or it's just the codes, but
Most likely, it's probably just the codes.
that's what I'm thinking too.
Comp plan is a different process and it's
Yeah.
kind of the basis for the codes. But if you've done it within the last 5 to 10 years, you're probably okay.
Yeah, you look at the 2006, everything is all predicated, sewer system, do this, it'll do that, and it's very, there's not much difference in then and now, but because we all want to do the same things essentially, if you look at it, so. But do take a look at it sometime.
Also, if city departments are interested in reviewing the plan, and having a little bit of a discussion at one point before the community engagement starts, we can also take a look at asking more questions that might be able to bring all that in. Just as an example, in one of my communities, I'm doing their comprehensive plan update over the period of a year, and we're doing very similar community engagement there, but you could definitely, you know, pull so many different aspects into that. So we can also go through the comp plan, find out if there's some areas that we need some public clarification, and we can make sure that we add that into our process too.
Yeah, I know the parks committee's looked at parts of it, but I don't think, excuse me, I don't think they've done any planning or proposals of changes, but I do like that approach, yeah.
I'll sneak in on some of their meetings and then we'll
Yeah.
try and get some.
What else do we want to touch on? You know, I think the budgets, I think we're okay there but between now, so like your time here is at an hourly basis, I think.
It's,
Contract kicks in on the first.
we'll just cover it. We'll just assume that it's the first today, so don't worry about that end of it. We'll just keep it moving. So, we'll just start the clock on November 1st, and I think we probably bill out for the remainder of the year at that point, and then, every quarter after that, I believe is what we're doing, so.
Okay.
And then just kind of so everybody knows that the door's always open if there's questions, concerns, improvements.
I don't know if that
Whatever, but-
was. If you don't mind just putting that in an email to Renee.
Oh, sure,
and
sure,
myself. I
sure.
don't know if that was shared with Sunny about the quarterly payments, so you know.
It's in the contract.
Yeah, Ron will send out a bill, so we'll just make sure that it gets to Renee and make sure Rebecca can let her know that's kind of what to expect, and she'll just put that.
Because she may not have seen this sort of contract or the Sunny was handling it, so.
Sure.
And if there's ever any problems with me, feel free to go over my head to this one. But if there is any issues, please let me know and I'll do everything that I can to get everything rectified, but I know that different personalities like different personalities, so I won't be offended. But I do want you guys to know, like, you can absolutely reach out to them. I'm not your only contact. That's
Yeah,
basically
you
what I'm
get the
saying.
whole team, you get the whole team, and it's all about building relationships, so whatever we can do to help you guys build relationships, bring people into the network. Get you involved, we have a partnership event on November 9th. What time does that start at? I'm blanking right now.
I believe it's at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m.
It's in the evening.
Oh, I was thinking it's the golfing one.
Yeah, so it's at Stewartville at the Country Club.
Yeah.
Stewartville at the Country Club, you guys are all welcome. It's free to attend. Just show up or get on our RSVP list, but we'll have just some speakers, have some food.
We always have really good food. I'm just throwing it out there.
Rebecca, would you want to make sure that they all get an invite for that themselves? Then you guys can see if that works on your calendars, but
Sign up for the CETA newsletter, email notifications, please do that. It gives a lot of good information that comes out, and
you can get that.
the thing I like about it, it just kind of gives you an overview of, and also look at their annual reports. I think I mentioned that before. kind of goes in and highlights different projects that CETA have been involved with throughout southeast Minnesota, so.
And this year you may not get like a really great report from me considering we're starting in November, but I do also provide an annual report to the board every year to kind of show what the EDA has done, and then we're able to have the board approve it and send it on to council so that they also know what kind of we've been accomplishing throughout the year.
Actually, that's a really good marketing tool too. When they do surveys for site selectors and kind of the big companies, when they're looking at what information is useful for them, those annual reports as to what the city's able to do for them as a business and what those accomplishments were. Having that out there on your website and those types of things are important as well.
You probably saw our new electronic message board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They just turned them on today. Was it today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Okay, so I wasn't going crazy. I thought I don't think it's
wasn't there.
So Waxfire is the manufacturer of the.
Okay.
panel. So that's as far as we got. Jeff's company that has a gentleman that would download the software and we can start putting messages on, or Renee, and so we're gonna do that next week probably, so. We also have one over by Tilly's now too. We put two of them in, one on the east side, one on the west side, so.
So yeah, if there's any questions about what we can do, what we can't do, there's very little that we can't do, other than make the moving truck show up, but, we're here to help. And so whatever we can do to help
Forward to it,
you
yeah.
guys, that's our goal.
The, anything else on the agenda you want to touch on tonight?
Not unless you need us to chime in on it, so.
So just a quick update on our wastewater treatment plant. The electric components that we were waiting for came in 2 weeks early. That's the good news. Bad news, it was due last June, but anyway. But it was better than what they originally told us early summer is gonna be October 2024. So really, we got the components a year early, and these are the electronic machine control centers that operates the treatment plant itself. So they're here, they're installing them. We're waiting for some panels to go on the lift stations, but so we're gonna try for a commissioning. Basically, it's going through the process, making sure everything's working right. I should say late November, early December. So at that time, we'll decide if we're gonna wait until, say, March before we can really, people can start hooking up to the system. We also have to hook it in the developments, and there's certain things going on in there that just they're not quite ready to go with that, but yet so. But the plant itself is in pretty good shape and will be here by the 1st of December. But the cold temperatures, we may just wait January, February, and just start out in March, so. But we'll make that decision to see where we're at with the updates. Right now, it's a lot of electrical wiring. Landscape's done, the road's paved, screen fenced around it. It's locked up. But so it's all done physically, so, except for the wiring, so. So that's kind of exciting, and hopefully next spring we'll have an open house or something to that effect, so yeah, should be exciting.
Can't wait for the tour.
But it's almost here. And part of it today, but paving, they were paving in the rain, finishing up the wear course. I'll come back next year, put the final course on a lot of this down here, so. In downtown.
So my question to that, Mayor, is it would seem to me the plan's ready, your developments that have your big drain fields that the whole like a whole area has, that's easier to hook up. Because they just hook that up and that services many houses.
Sure.
If you come to the big drain fields. What plans do they have, I guess, to put out to the people, like say myself or whatever, because I just gotta pull my tank out. And they just gotta hook the line up, tell all their residents, who's going to do that. What contractor is willing to, is going to come to town and say, oh, well, we'll do hookups, we're familiar with what's going on. Or, so we have we all have an idea of when.
Sure.
We can schedule ourselves to.
Right, and there'll be letters coming out to all individuals that have to hook up to it.
Okay.
We do have a list of contractors that Joe put together,
Okay.
like for the water and for the sewer plumbing. So that's when those letters will be going out by sections as they're ready to come on. on the system, I guess, so.
So that'd be like in March, you say, next year you're doing
It
that?
could come out before that if that's, I don't think it's, nobody's gonna be putting sewer in January and February
No,
probably.
no, I can't dig. the
But
ground.
yeah, it's probably gonna be that March going forward, March, April timeframe, so. But there are letters going out to individual groups, sections as we bring the lift stations on, that type of thing, so.
Okay.
It's like the whole downtown, everything downtown, it goes to lift station 2, which is over in Garden Park. So that would be, that'd be next spring for sure, just because of the weather and everything, but like River Park, Cedarwood, Riverwood Hills, those will probably come on also in the springtime too, so. But at least that's the plan, we'll try and, you'll probably see it on the signs, you know, who can hook up and when you can hook up, so. Websites, Facebooks, that type of thing, so it's,
And that's,
I hope we over communicate that, so, you know. Fewer calls coming in Cedar Hall, City Hall, I should say.
Cause it was my understanding, there's a lot of homeowners that will, if they have their lift station or they have to, because they have to be pumped, they have to feed that off their own, out of their house, whatever, so. A lot of them are gonna have to come up with a 220 service to be dug in to come to their house, and with a lot of the older homes.
just upgrade the panel too.
We got, that's what I'm saying, when you upgrade that, then
That's-
a lot of building codes come into effect.
Now, all the electrical in the house needs to be updated to current.
Well, I'm just saying is, I hate to say that, but that's exactly
Yeah,
what happens to the people, so I just, so the sticker shock doesn't come to the people with paying for the assessment, but also when I hook up that ejection pump that I have to have for the non-gravity feed ones.
So that, first of all, it takes 30 amp service.
Okay.
It's not 220,
Okay.
so that's, we don't have to put it 220, unless you want to put a
our
charging station, I guess, in your house, but. So, no, it's 30 amp service, and a lot of people, some of the people have done that already, just had run out to this and put a box there. So the decommissioning of the tanks and everything, that would be done by the city, that have grinder stations. So that's all part of the funding that we got from the state, is to put the grinder stations in and decommission the tanks for those homes. So that's all paid by the city or by the state funding, so that's all done by them, so now they've dug the line in, they buried the sewage or the septic system, grinder station, so they'll come back. I don't think they're coming back this fall, but they'll come back next spring, and they'll do finishing the hookup and commissioning, so that's why the plant has to be operational first before they start any grinder stations up.
Right.
So. And that's all been conveyed to the 83 grinder station. Are you getting a grinder station?
No, mine's all gravity feed, but I have a holding tank that just gotta come out,
Oh, yeah. for
and
your-
they're, I'm 20 feet, well, after you take the tank out. The tank is 3,000 gallons, whatever, so they could fill that in. I mean, it's never, cause I have it pumped every spring, I don't use it very, like I said, to do that, but they gotta pull that out, fill it in, but it's just a matter of hooking the pipe. Take one in the tank and take it out and put a pipe in the length of my tank and. But now that's 20 feet down, so now mine isn't quite 20 feet down, my tank, so.
Yeah,
It'll be really
lot of
gravity
issues,
feed.
yeah. So that's a whole- Well, Chris,
Maybe a
thank you
90.
very much for coming up. Rebecca, look forward to working with you.
Yeah.
Any other comments for tonight? Otherwise, we'll make a motion, we adjourn at 7:30. Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 the whole meeting, around here?
Hi.
I'm gonna go to the football game then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Assuming that it,
The next one, fourth Tuesday of November,
I'm sorry.
the fourth Tuesday of
Okay,
November.
you've got one, you've got
Yeah, so that
one.
still works for you until something
Yep,
changes.
everybody else has one card.
I know I have one.
I'll give you a couple just in case you
So did you?
need them in the office
Oh,
for any
sure thing.
reason.
Yep.
I'll give you one.
This was, this was.
Cause I know I gave some to Sunny, I just don't know what.
Sure.
What happened?
No, I remember seeing my.
Because I
like
just
card
handed this
here,
one out, so you probably gotta-
It's got a fresh stack.
Or not this one.
And I
this one.
apologize when you guys see my phone number pop up. It is South Dakota.
This
I
is-
got my business cards before I could change my number when I moved here, so it just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
605.
This content is.
Okay.
Now.
Look at the.
28th.
No, that's, I didn't see that.
Oh, I gotta change that.
28th, looks like at 6:30 is our next meeting.
So we'll be on November 28th.
Invites for the.
Who's overseeing that list now?
Okay.
Either Sandra or.
So let's go upstairs. You have
I've
time?
got sticky notes on my wall at home of who does, like Josh does stories,
Whoever wants to go.
trying to remember where things go.
Back.
Yep,
Yeah.
I got
Let's go upstairs.
Oh, perfect.
Where-
Throw this in my bag.
Anybody else wants to come up, we can.
What is the mayor, what is the new building going up on Minnesota Avenue South? The copper roof, I think it's Keen's building, what's he gonna put there? That's in the city, is it not?
Oh, across the highway or across?
All across, so you,
That's
well,
not-
Minnesota Avenue South. Is that not the city yet?
That's township now.
Well, so,
Our city limit stops at Gas and Go.
okay, I thought it went across to down to that you had annexed that in all the way down to the sewage
We
plant.
just annexed 10 acres for the plant.
Okay, okay. I thought you'd annexed that.
It will be annexed soon.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
So you put the new electric.
See you guys later.
Yeah, take care. What's that?
There's a new electronic, you put an electronic.
Yep, yeah, two of them actually, it says, you know how that old one was the old letters
Yeah.
that were on there?
Yeah.
So